That's why I was really shocked to see it. I was actually real happy inside about it.
Yeah,
Like,
I know that your supervisor said she had never seen a program run so successfully.
yes, it definitely went really good, and they're actually talking about continuing it there, doing meditations with the boys. Not necessarily artwork, but at least continuing the meditations, and then the art lady will
Facilitate
help. Yes,
the next steps. Great.
definitely. Now to my next slide was food and theme party. This one was around Thanksgiving time. So during this week, some of the children are not allowed to go home. So I decided to combine these two steps with Thanksgiving food and a party for the boys. We had great food brought in by the cottage staff, like turkey, corn, mashed potatoes, cornbread, and a couple other foods. The boys had a great time while eating a lot. Not all these children have really had a family to sit down and eat a nice dinner with. It was very nice to have the people that basically live with the children help prepare the meals to eat. We had a blast with this. The cottage staff, which they have a certain amount of people. They have cottage supervisors, cottage therapists, college psychologists. They all work as a team. The rec therapist, programming the kids into work and programs, and we worked all together to prepare meals we brought in for the boys, and it was a real big success. At first, I took the kids into a meditation before we went in to eat, my group, but I allowed others to come in because, you know, it was more of a social thing. We wanted to make it more social, so we let more kids come in, especially from that cottage. So that was a real good way to kick it off, I guess, to end my TAP.
And also to have people want to start participating is a big element to children like this who have emotional problems. Many children find themselves disassociating, if you will, and isolating. So for the program to end where you're really bringing on many more people into your program is, I think, a real statement to what you were doing.
Definitely. Almost every session I had I always had 3 that were committed. They would come religiously. But then I would have a couple of walk-ins just to fill in the program, just to fill in the open positions that were available to let other kids have an opportunity to experience. But commitment lacks with these children. Commitment is it's very tough to have kids commit to something. They'll come to one program one week, they'll miss it the next, they'll come like every other week. And it's, you know, to have 3 come religiously like that was very, very good. So,
what would you say some of the benefits were to you as a therapist?
To me, as a therapist, basically just to get through to the kids and providing them with an opportunity that they've never done before by meditating and guided imagery and artwork. You know, they never created sculptures like that, you know, and mask making. They never got to do fun stuff like that, and it was a real positive.
And what did you find about yourself and the relationship with you and your peers and the supervisors in terms of the TAP method? Was there conversations about that?
Yeah, of course. Some would joke, you know, they would be like, Joe doing the meditations today, you know, and some would be like, wow, you're really doing some positive things with the kids. I actually had the president come up he came into the orientation, we had to do training, and I told him what I was going to be offering with the boys, and he was really amazed that I was going to offer this kind of program to the kids, and it was really positive to see that.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I am really proud when specifically a professor like myself gets a telephone call from a supervisor who's been there for 20 years and says this is the best program she's seen any of her interns do. So I'm very proud. So I really want to thank you very much for what you've done.
No problem.
You've really touched those kids' lives.
Thank you. But to start wrapping it up, I had some accomplishments for the boys. The boys got to express good memories and positive thinking. The boys got to have fun. The boys got to try something they never have done before, like meditations and some of the artwork they created. At the end of every session, the boys thanked me and showed great appreciation to have me running a program where we could talk and create art to occupy their mind. And just talking about the art, talking about life, we talked about everything from they're 16, 17, they're about to get their driver's license. We talked about life on the road and what you should be doing, you know, and since they're drug and alcohol related, you know, we talked about, you know, the effect on driving with that and all that, and we try to keep everything positive every session. So when they start going into their drug stories, we try to rear away from it, and we try to stay on focus and on target, and a lot of positive stuff comes from it. And conversations that we had are endless with talking about all the positive things in life. And now to some accomplishments for me. Relaxation of the body and mind was performed through meditations and guided imagery to stimulate positive emotions and memories. Getting at least 3 boys committed to perform the TAP every week. I would get a couple of walk-ins too to try something new, but commitment lacks, which I said before with a lot of the youths. I started a new program at the Children's Village that the boys have never done before, also using recreational therapy to connect with children and young adults with behavioral issues and drug and alcohol problems. And most of all, helping the youths with positive conversation about life and what direction to take while having fun creating art in a relaxed state of mind. But that pretty much sums it up for my TAP method with the boys. I would like to thank Dr. Madori for teaching me the TAP method. I would also like to thank the Children's Village for providing me with the opportunity to do the TAP method with youths, because I've never done it before with youths, and it was a great experience to experiment with the children.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. And what we're going to be hearing from next is Lauren, who is a third-year student here majoring in therapeutic recreation. And Lauren, what I have the third-year class do, she was one who was chosen today to speak to you about what she did. I have the students here at the college go through the 9 steps of the TAP method for themselves so that they can see who they are through meditation, what comes up for them in their drawing, what do they think about, who are they as college students with movement, dance, and food. And so Lauren is going to share with you this morning how she uses the TAP method personally, and what it was really a theme on herself. So Lauren, why don't you?
My name is Lauren, and I'm 20 years old, and I'm a junior at St. Thomas Aquinas College. And you could start with the first slide of my PowerPoint. This is the TAP method I did on myself. I'm a commuter student, so I drive here, and I am a therapeutic recreation major. For the first step of the TAP method is conversation, and I have a picture of my cell phone, because for me, conversation is my phone. I'm a big texter, and I text all my friends, and that's how I talk to them. And I also have a computer because I have a lot of friends who are away at school, so I like to chat with them. They are video chat, and so that's why I have the computer. And the next step on the next slide is meditation. In class, Dr. Levine Madori did a meditation with us, and she said to envision yourself in an antique shop. And for me, immediately, I envisioned myself in Italy, and I saw my nonna, which is my grandma, open the antique shop for me, and she said to envision something that you see. What's the first thing that you see when you go in the antique shop? So for me, I saw a bike. I don't know. It was my nonna's. It was an old bike that I had seen in a picture that she was riding, and so...
I wanted to ask you,
yeah.
How long ago was that image that you saw of the bicycle? Was that something that you hadn't thought about in years?
I don't even think I can't remember, because I haven't found the picture yet. I'm still looking for it. But it's an old picture of my nonna when she was like even younger than me, living in Italy, riding a bike.
So that's very powerful, how meditation can bring up something in your past that you really held in your subconscious, specifically about your grandma.
And this is the drawing that I did. I drew the bike. It had a blue bow on it. I just saw that in my head, so I drew it. And the next slide is sculpture. For this one, I sculpted buttons because my nonna was a seamstress, and she had this big room in her basement that had a huge desk and a sewing machine, and in the desk had a bunch of different buttons that she used to for all of her sewing. And she used to let us like pick out what buttons we liked, and she would sew them on our dresses or our sweaters. And so that's my sculpture of buttons made out of Play-Doh. And then on the right is the actual buttons that I took from her desk, her sewing desk.
And let me ask you a question about this. Did you then go home and talk to your mom about having this memory and about your Noni? How did that, and this is the important thing about the TAP method, that it's not only for that moment of what you do, but it's then how does this connect you to other things? So what happened with this?
It was actually my dad's mom, and we've been cleaning out her house because she passed away recently. So it was a big thing for me to go back and take those buttons. It was, you know, so I wanted to take the ones that I liked and that meant something to me. So.
And what did your father have any thoughts about his mom and remembering her as a seamstress?
Yeah.
Okay.
The next step is movement and dance. I've been dancing since I was 7 years old. I did all types of dance, including jazz, ballet, hip hop, and my favorite, which is tap. This is a picture of me when I was 7 doing ballet. But this specific step triggered a specific memory to me, which was my first dance recital when I was 7. I was chosen to do a tap dance with all of the adults. And I thought that was really cool because I was like a little girl and I was the only one.
And the class did not know about this, so it was really very interesting for our class to learn about you as a dancer.
Yeah. The next step is words and poetry. For me, whenever I'm feeling something or going through something, I write about it. I keep a little journal next to my bed. And I actually got this journal on my confirmation from the man in charge of our youth group. So he gave us all journals, and ever since then I've been writing in my journal, and sometimes I turn what I write in the journal into a song or into a poem, or so I like to write. And the next step is food. My favorite food is baked ziti, meatballs, and sausage. This is a family recipe that was passed down from generations in my family. So I cooked it with my mom.
Oh, you did? So
Yes.
you went with your mom and you cooked the food?
And we did this, we did my Nona's recipe for the sauce.
So it's so interesting how this theme arrives and arises about how your grandmother came to you in the meditation in a way. You had conversation to talk to your family about. And do you think it brought you closer together, just really bringing those moments and honoring your grandmother?
Yeah, and it took us a whole day to make the sauce, and I never realized, like, my Nona used to do that every night. She would cook that sauce for my
And it took you a whole day.
And it took me a whole day, yeah.
So you really
it made
get
me
to
realize things about
appreciate
her.
what the old world cooking was all about.
Yeah. The next step is theme, and for me, I realized that the big theme in my life is my family and music. My dad is a musician, and I've been surrounded by music my entire life. And because of all my siblings love music, we all play instruments and sing, and so from that love of music, we created a band together, and we just sing and love it.
Great.
And
what kind of feedback did you get from the class when you shared that?
Yeah, no one knew that I did any of this because I'm really shy in class. So it helped me open up to the class and made.
Yeah, it really did, because we were really very surprised because you're very quiet as a student, and so we were all just very taken that you got on stage and performed, and that led to an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Why don't you share that with us? About the fact that you're shy, but you feel comfortable.
Well, because it's what I love and what I'm good at, so I feel comfortable going up on a stage and singing, whereas I'm more reserved and shy in class.
I think since then you've changed a bit in class.
Yeah?
Now. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. But the next step is step 9 is phototherapy. I included pictures. On the right is a picture of me and my parents. And on the bottom is me and my brothers and sisters. And one is me singing, the other one is an Italian flag. And there's a picture of me and my 2 best friends. And then on the left, there's a picture of me, and I do a camp every summer for kids with special needs where I'm a counselor. So that was my group in the picture over there. I love them, so I want to include them in this.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
And so what we really would like to share with you as the audience is if you are interested in going into therapeutic recreation as a profession, it has actually been listed as one of the top 10 professions in the United States due to the fact that we're an aging population and many of our students, actually 90% of our students get immediate jobs upon graduation. You only need an undergraduate degree to get a degree in therapeutic recreation. You do not need a master's degree, so people can graduate and go on to a full-time position. If you're interested, please go to stac.edu. And we thank you today for this show and for sharing from our students here at St. Thomas Aquinas College and to the facilities who offered us this opportunity to film our show. Thank you.